welcome to Empower Hour to Stress to Sleep. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to go ahead and add some topics, and as people come in and populate the room, I want to welcome you all. Hey, Julie. All righty. Feel free to come on in, share the room, introduce yourself in the chat, and let me go add a couple of topics. We are going to say that this one is about self-help, and it is also about mental health because I think if we don't get enough sleep, we're not going to have very good mental health. And let's also call it, hmm, let's call it work-life balance. Why not? I think that's a really, those are good topics that we can say this is. So welcome, welcome. Hey, Yofe, qué bueno verte. Julie, how are you doing? Tell us what you're up to right now while we wait for more of our mods to come in.
Well, I am coming to you live from beautiful the Pacific Northwest. I flew into Portland yesterday and I am right outside of the city and I'm getting the red bar of death. I don't know if you can still hear me. I don't know if I'm in the
I
matrix or not,
can.
but
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're not in the matrix. This is good. Yeah.
okay,
Please, please, please.
awesome. But I am in a beautiful home in the Pacific Northwest. It's about 10 acres, and I'm here for a mastermind retreat with a few colleagues and coaches that we have some exciting things planned. We have an app in which people who are looking for motivation or they're looking for continue their personal growth can actually go in and they can listen to some of the apps. There's trainings, there's podcasts, there you can find leading providers, and it's all free. If you're looking to maybe have a space where you can have some prompts for journaling, also the app is there. So if you want to just hit me a DM and you want me to send you the information on the app, this is a great tool for you to continue on your personal journey, and it's free to you, and you can have access to leading providers in their field when it comes to coaching and mentoring and all kinds of amazing individuals. So I'm so fortunate to know them. But I was supposed to have lunch with a girlfriend from high school today, and her son got sick. So everybody went hiking, and I stayed behind because I thought I was meeting my friend for lunch. So I've had a wonderful day just journaling, looking at the birds, and enjoying the sunshine here. So that's what I'm up to.
Thanks, Julie. Well, that sounds awesome. So, I just want to, I love that you are taking time out for yourself. I hope that's actually helping your sleep or creating less stress. So I am waiting. I think we can go ahead and get started. I am sure our mods will come on in. Let me just introduce myself and the topic of the room and how it's going to work. So my name is Susie Castellanos, and I am a trauma-informed life coach for first generation trailblazers, meaning I do coach anyone who would like to be supported in their life's journey, but I have a particular sweet spot for people who maybe came from nothing and they had to work really hard to escape their upbringing and become who they are. And one of the things that I find with many of my clients, which was also a case for me, is feeling that we have a lot of stress, right? And you don't have to be a first gen trailblazer to feel stress. All are welcome. We are in the Amigos Club, which is the largest Latina club on Clubhouse. And all are invited to be part of this club and our rooms. Um, and this is a room that I run every week at this time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, every Tuesday. It is called Empower Hour. And the goal is really for us to come together and share and communicate about challenges and to be able to then support each other and lift each other up and empower each other. So that's the theme of the room always. And today's topic is too stressed to sleep. So I just wanted to go ahead and uh, offer that. So let's go ahead and get started. I saw Desiree down there. If you look at the chat, she indicated this literally happened to me last night, and I'm going to tell you that literally happened to me last night. It doesn't happen every night, but it happened to me last night that I was feeling very anxious and my head was kind of spinning. and I couldn't sleep last night just because I was thinking about a lot of work things. And who else, if anybody else wants to share that and wants to come up either with, if you'd like to raise your hand and share what goes on for you, if you found any kind of techniques. I have definitely some techniques that I was able to use yesterday, but would love to have folks raise their hands and come up or go ahead and share in the chat. So I want to go ahead and start just by sharing my own experience, and then we can go ahead and I think what I want to do is, since, Desiree, thank you so much for coming up. What I can do is, I think we're going to sort of toggle. So I'll share a little bit of something, then we're going to go to our guest, like Desiree, then we're going to go to our next mod who will introduce herself and offer something, and then we'll go to our next guest who it looks like Dr. M. Montalvo. Thanks for coming up. And then we go to Nando, he can introduce himself, etc. Then we go to our next guest. So anybody who would like to come up, more than welcome. So let me go ahead and begin the conversation. So I did want to share. There's a lot of reasons that people don't have trouble falling asleep, right? And I'll just quickly mention some of them, but I want to focus on one particular one. So there are things that could cause us not to, to have that insomnia. And insomnia is a little bit different than not getting enough sleep. So not getting enough sleep is just maybe you pushing your bedtime out really late, and so then you're just not getting enough sleep. Maybe you have young kids in the house, etc. And so you're literally not getting enough sleep. But insomnia, like if you're too stressed to sleep, that's more you're actually going into the bed, but then your mind is racing and you're feeling anxious and you're thinking about a lot of things and you're ruminating, and that kind of thing. We there are definite things that can cause that. um so some are, for one thing, it could be a medical condition or it could be like medicines you're taking, but those are things that you don't turn to as a way to say, oh, that's what's causing it, unless you've dealt with all the other possible causes. And some of them are going to be environmental. For example, we're supposed to sleep between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you're sleeping in a room that's too cool or too warm, you're not going to sleep well. If you have too much light or too much noise, you're not going to sleep well. If your partner snores, you're not going to sleep well. If you have Let me see a couple other things. If you're doing a lot of electronics before you go to bed, that's going to stimulate your brain to think, hey, I'm getting daytime out. Our brains have evolved over millions of years, and we've only had cell phones literally in this century. So our brains haven't adapted to the idea, our bodies, that, hey, that light means it's still daylight, so I should just stay awake longer. So those are some of the environmental things that we know. If you drink alcohol, that is actually, or caffeine, that's going to keep you up. So those are certain things. So but the thing we really want to focus on today is that thing where, while these other things could play into that, we want to focus on how do we handle it when we know it's stress. We know that we're ruminating. We know that we're kind of like, oh my God, I have too much to do. Oh my God, I need to figure this out. And it's good to bring in those other things too, like tips for, oh yeah, you should make sure you have the temperature the right way, turn off the lights, etc. But I think one of the things that I think is really helpful is if we focus also on, there's going to be certain mindset things and certain practices that we want to be able to implement, other in addition to the actions we can take to make our environment better for us. So that's kind of what I wanted to offer as a way to begin our conversation. And so one of the things that for me that I have found is, now that I'm an entrepreneur, when I am worried about marketing, or when I'm worried about something like my messaging, etc., that was exactly the thing that kept me awake all night last night. And I ultimately, the way I dealt with it is that I I kind of allowed it to be there. I did a few things, such as there's a practice called tapping, emotional freedom technique, or EFT, where you tap and it releases the tension in your body. So I was doing a lot of yawning. Part of the tapping was expressing a particular phrase in my head. I was saying, even though I'm feeling anxious about staying up late, I totally and completely love and accept myself. So you have this mantra that you do for tapping. And for me, that really helped relieve the stress and kind of release it. And it calmed my brain down, it calmed my body down. So, but even then, I couldn't sleep. And so, what I realized is that I had to give myself permission to say this. What I realized is I had a thought in my head like, see, this is going to fuck me up all day tomorrow. Now I'm going to be tired. Now I'm not going to be able to go to sleep. Now I'm not going to get the things done. And so, the thing that for me made a huge difference was that I then caught that thought and I realized that was creating new stress on top of the stuff that I was already stressed out about. So what I told myself is like, you know what? No matter what happens, you're going to have all the energy you need to do what you need to do. And that made me go to sleep. Like I really believe that. I started like really shifting my thoughts around it. And I have had like the most amazing kick-ass productive day today that I would not have imagined. And it did mean I took a nap in the middle of the day, but I made it work. So I wanted to offer that just as a way of understanding that one of the things that can really make a difference is really acknowledging what's causing the stress. And sometimes, you're thinking like, oh, it's because I have all this stuff to do. And then you add more stress by saying, oh my God, now I'm not going to be able to go to sleep and I'm not going to be able to wake up and I'm going to be tired. And if you can kind of like be aware that that's what you're thinking and shift that and do some of that tapping to release the energy, that is what I wanted to offer as a tip that I have found very useful, so that even though I didn't get unquote enough sleep last night, I still was able to wake up, have a really amazing day, catch up on my sleep during the day, and it didn't derail me the way it would have in the past when I would have just kept beating myself up. So I just wanted to offer that. Um, Let me go ahead and Desiree, do you want to go ahead and share? What would you like to share with us? You mentioned that you were very stressed out about sleep last night, so I'd like to go ahead and pass it to you.
Thanks. I mean, it was just, it's the usual. Our cat has to get neutered, so I'm like, oh, great, like added expenses that I normally would have had money stored away for, but there were other unexpected expenses this same month. So I'm just like sitting here like, oh God, like how am I supposed to accomplish all my creative endeavors and also be making money and also make extra money? And I don't know. I laid in bed. I can lay in bed for about half an hour and then I start to like really like I need to do something. So I laid in bed for 45 minutes. I pushed myself because I really wanted to go to bed early. And and then I ended up at 11:45 maybe. I got up and I was like, okay, like obviously I'm too stressed to sleep. Like what can I do? I have this idea that and I know it's not like the right idea, but I've always felt like if you can't sleep it's because you didn't do enough during your day. And I know that's not logical and it's not healthy probably, but I'm always like, oh, like if I can't sleep, if I'm awake, it's because there's more stuff that I need to accomplish. So I got up, I applied to some like random side gigs, and um, yeah, and after another hour and a half of doing that, I finally felt tired enough to go to sleep, and then I went to sleep right away. But um, yeah, I don't know what else to share about that. That's just I saw the room and was like, yes, perfect. I'd love to hear how other people deal with this.
Yeah, well, you know what, Desiree, I think that's super interesting, right? Because there have been other times where, like, I have chosen that, right? To be like, you know what? I just have all this energy and I just know that there's things that I want to do, so let me go do it. And then I do it, and then I go back to sleep and I feel better. So I think like it's kind of interesting because I don't always do that, but it's interesting, just for us to be aware that that's an option, and for us to try different things. Like, what happens if you know, really there isn't anything, like if there isn't anything more to be done and you just really need to go to sleep is one thing. But in your case, you figured out like, hey, well, let me just get up and do it. And I think that's pretty cool. So thank you so much for sharing that. And please stay up on the audience. So, because I want to see if any of our mods, Julie, Nando, Herman, if you want to comment on anything Desiree said or anything I said, and go ahead and introduce yourselves if you do. So who would like to share?
I can go if you want. Desiree, I love that you said that you got up because one of the things that I read, and I unfortunately don't remember where I read it, but I did hear that if your mind is wandering, that and you haven't been able to fall back asleep and you're just tossing and turning, it is better to be able to just get up and do something and then come back to bed. And I've done that a couple different times and it has helped me. Sleep and I have a very tumultuous and interesting relationship. And actually, I'm going to take that back. I have, I am working on having a better relationship with my sleep, and it all comes back from having good evening hygiene sleep habits and creating, because for many years I told myself the story that I was not a morning person. And by the way, this is Julie, and I'm a business and life strategy coach, but I am also Tiny Habits certified. And one of the things that I found is that my sleep hygiene came from getting up in the morning and having a hard time with it, came from the fact that I never created the type of routine that served me in the evening. So for the past couple years, I really have been intentional about creating the type of evening routine that definitely serves me. When I first married my husband, hashtag handsome husband, Dan, he would get up at the crack of dawn and I'd be like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And at 11 o'clock, midnight, I'm still up and I'm a night owl. And then I realized that, in order to be a morning person, you have to be the person that goes to bed early. And I always thought that that whole going to bed early was sort of like a punishment. And why am I doing this? I like to be up. I'm a city girl. But what I realized is that I was starting my days in such a behind the eight ball type of way because I was not giving myself enough time and enough latitude to be able to, go into my day in a peaceful manner. So the first way that I start my bedtime routine is I have an alarm on my phone, or actually I use the focus part of my iPhone. And at 9:30, I get a little thing that says, "Hey, it's time for bed. Start to get ready." And it gives me half an hour. And in that time, I make my cup of tea for the evening and I go upstairs. And when I go to the bathroom, I wash my face. And then I come back into the bedroom and I sit down. And maybe I will do like one quick little scroll before my phone shuts down at 10 p.m. But I read or I do a meditation. I, say a prayer, but just settling down into the evening and allowing myself. And yes, a lot of times I'm not tired because there's so many different things that we have in our brain that are kind of going around. I am big for making sure that if there's a lot of things that are keeping me up, I have a journal that I won't do a full journal entry. Don't take me wrong. I'm not a superstar like that. But what I do is and I want to give myself credit for this, is I will just write down one word, two words, things that are the things that are keeping me and keeping my mind going. And once I do that, then I'm able to kind of calm my brain. I have found also that doing some sleep meditations has helped me be able to really be able to shut my brain down. And the other thing too, like if I wake up in the middle of the night, because ladies and gentlemen, when menopause is real, and I didn't know what a doozy it could be. And I started getting up in the middle of the night and really struggling to stay asleep. So the thing that I found is I actually go through and I start to visualize what I want my day to be like the next day. For me, sometimes if I know that I have to get up at a certain time or I have something going and I see, you keep looking at the clock, the more that you like, oh, I gotta go to bed, I gotta go to bed, I gotta go to sleep. But for me, I start to visualize what is my day going to look like tomorrow? And it doesn't matter how much I sleep, but and I start to look at and create that mental picture of how happy I'm going to be, how grateful I'm going to feel for waking up another day. Maybe I'm going to picture myself having fun with my dogs, or sitting at my desk and doing something productive, or talking to a client, and just the different things. The other thing, too, by the way, that I didn't mention that I do before I go to bed is I take a look at my calendar. That is one of the last things that I do, because I want to see what my day is going to be like on the next day. And that really does set me up to try to already start to think about, how do I want to show up the next day? Because for me, I think that for many years, my life was lived just by chance. And I've decided that I want to be intentional, that I don't want life to happen to me. I want to be the person that has a hand on creating that intentionality for my life. So that's how I am able to get a good night's sleep. I will tell you, my husband does snore, and I do have dogs in the bed, which is not the best thing ever. And by the way, the other thing that I have found is YouTube has phenomenal nighttime music meditations, or things that you can turn on and then the screen goes black. So that, in the times that I really have struggled to fall back asleep, that has helped me a lot. So that's a little bit about me. And again, tiny habits for me is the thing that really helps me to continue to stay in this path of bettering myself. So with that, I'm yielding the mic.
Thank you, Julie. Yeah, so so I should Julie, you just basically gave all 18 tips that, so now I don't know what Nando, Herman,
Oh,
and
I'm
you know,
sorry.
Luz
I
are
just took you through my routine.
I know,
I
I'm
took
totally
you through
messing
my
with you,
routine.
but it's
Okay, I'm
awesome.
sorry.
No, the routine is
Didn't get the
good, and
memo.
I think that, oh, no, no, no. But it's hilarious because I love your routine and I want to just kind of highlight a few things and just say for folks, it's like, so you may not do every single thing, right? But here's some of the things that are really good, like between what I said, Desiree said, and Julie said, right? Sometimes, for me, like sometimes it's like if you have a lot of energy in your body and you do want to go to sleep and there's nothing that you need to do, but except sleep, the tapping for me is totally 100%. Desiree has the experience that, hey, I actually know that there's certain things that I should be doing or that I wanted to get done. I might as well do them. And so then that works for her, and then she can go back right back to sleep. And Julie mentioned a lot of really great things. The ones that I know that are really important is, I think a lot of it is being able to do a brain dump, honestly. So in a way, it's when we don't really know what's going on in our heads that it makes us stress out and they're just kind of running rampant. So if you do a brain dump, if you journal, choosing to look at your calendar ahead of time so that you already kind of know, okay, this is how my day is going to go tomorrow. I will say that one of the other things that's really useful is, if at the end of your workday, you before you wrap it up, write down the three things you're going to do tomorrow when you first get up and start working. That really helps. So a lot of it is that we have so much going on in our heads, like this desire that, oh, we need to do all this stuff, but if we can capture that in some way, that can be really helpful, or just go ahead and get it done, like Desiree did. So thank you guys so much. I'm gonna do a quick reset and then pass it over to Nando. So you are in the Amigos room, the largest Latinx room on Clubhouse, and we are in Empower Hour. Today's topic is too stressed to sleep. Nando, just because of the time and the number of people in the audience, we're gonna try to keep it to like 2 minutes. What do you want to share with us about, your sleep, and what insights or tips or that you could offer us? Thanks. Here you go.
Yeah, not fair, Julie. You took up everybody's time. So anyway,
And
what I
everybody's
actually wanted to
tips, though.
bring up, I know what I wanted to actually bring up is this concept that researchers are now studying, which is called revenge sleep procrastination. And so what they've discovered is, if you say to yourself during the day, there's just not enough hours, subconsciously what's happening is, because you're stressed out because of work, you didn't have time to do this or didn't have time to do that, you will stay up until 3, 4 in the morning, playing your video games or, doing whatever on the internet, filling out applications, doing what have you, because you're like, I'll be damned if I'm not going to get all this done. And then what ends up happening is that it sabotages you for the next day, right? Um, and so I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention because it's a rarely new phenomenon that's occurring that's being researched right now. And it's called, again, revenge sleep procrastination. And the reason that it's impacting people's health is because it's being done out of spite subconsciously when you're too stressed out. So my one tip that I will mention is I often find that my clients and myself um, will be ruminating, right? Just going through the list of stuff. And uh, one of the areas that I invite everyone to actually take a look at is the things, the conversations, the actual conversations that are incomplete for you in your life. Example, let's say you and your mom got into a fight, or she hung up very angrily on the phone, yesterday with you, and you haven't called to like get that complete, hey mom, what have you. That will stay ruminating, right? Also, maybe you had a bad interaction with the neighbor. Things like that, they accumulate and they stay in your subconscious. And sometimes, Susie had mentioned, sometimes there's no rhyme or reason, like why you're up. I would assert that it's those little subconscious incomplete conversations that are actually pulling at you saying, you've got some unfinished business, right? So just take a look at that and see if there's anything there for you. Yeah, and then just get it complete. So those are my tips.
You know what? I kind of get what you mean about the whole revenge sleep procrastination, right? Because sometimes it's almost like you're pissed at yourself. So I've done that where I'm pissed at myself for not having a good day, and then I kind of like spiral into surfing on my phone, and then I'll stay out on the couch for till all hours, and then I'll go back, and then I'm exhausted, and then I can go to sleep. But it's less about insomnia in that case, and more like I'm like, I'm almost saying fuck you to myself because I'm beating myself up. And so then I'm just like, I mean, it's a type of, in a way, like a type of freeze response nervous system where you feel so much shame and self-loathing that you almost like, um, beat your, like, rather than feeling it, you might overeat, you might start watching Netflix, you might start surfing on your phone. Me, I'll be like looking at, oh, what's the latest thing in this and that, Johnny Depp, Amber Heard trial. Like, it's the worst, right? So I don't know. Does is that similar then? Like when you do that, Nando, the thing that I'm kind of describing as the revenge
Yeah,
sleep
absolutely. It's
procrastination?
yeah, you're pretty much saying I will get these things done. Screw that I wasn't able to because of work or obligations, carpool or what have you. That's pretty much it.
Awesome. Thanks for introducing that new term. I'm totally gonna Google it. I'm gonna.
I have a question about that. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
go
Susie.
ahead.
Can I jump in? Okay, Nando. So does would negotiating your hours, like, okay, I usually go to bed about 10 o'clock, 10:30. All right, I can't go to sleep. I need about 6 7 hours. You're doing this whole negotiating, right? Because I get up at 5 because that's the best time for me to go do my exercise, right? And so I'll negotiating these hours, sleep hours. Does that fall in that category of the revenge sleep procrastination?
It doesn't sound like it, right? Because what you're doing is that you're basically saying, okay, I'm going to take this over here and put it in there. This is more like, crap, I work 10 hours, then I have to go do a carpool. Then when I get home, I have to cook. And then da da da. I am going to stay up until I watch season 2 of Knots Landing, damn it. Right? Like it
Not
will get
landing.
done. So you don't sit there and think, oh, I got to get up at 5, so I'm going to do less of this or whatever. It's like it will get done if it kills me because I deserve this and da, da. And keep in mind that the reason that there's quote unquote not enough hours in the day is that you're overloading yourself during the daytime to begin with.
That's really good. Good. Did you want to say something, Luz? Go for it.
No, 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 no. Thank you for that clarification. Because I know, I mean, like Julie, I have a timer. It comes on at 9:30. It starts telling me you need to unwind, to go to sleep, and I do my routine, todo eso, que fabuloso. And then I have this thing called Better Sleep, which is a free app that plays what is that, white noise, so I could sleep and stay asleep. And then I just spray some lavender on my pillow. I have some tea and a melatonin, and I'm pretty good. But I mean, there are times that things pop in my head at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, coño, I want to sleep. I have 2 more hours. So, and then that starts to stress me out because I'm counting. If I go to sleep in the next half hour, I would have completed 6 hours. So that's just my take on that.
It's really interesting, Luz, because I feel like last night I conquered that because I do that same thing, exactly what you're doing. Like, I think we all do that. Like, tap your mics, anybody on the audience, or put it in the chat. Like, do you sit there and count and go like, oh man, like if I go to sleep now, I can get this, and oh no, now I'm only gonna get this much sleep, and now I'm only gonna, and like you do that. So, I mean, I do that shit all the time, right? But I swear to God, like last night was one of the, I think because I did the tapping, I was able to interrupt that because the tapping kind of gets you out of fight flight mode because that's fight flight when you're like, oh my god, now this is going to happen and da da da, and the tapping just kind of like lets me calm that down, and then I can turn on my prefrontal cortex, and then I could be like, okay, but let's be realistic, are you really da 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 da? And then I could be like, you know what, because this is a thought that I've had in the past that I've practiced, is, you know what, I bet I have all the energy I need to get done what I need to do tomorrow. And no matter what, I have control of how much energy I expend. So for me, it's been like practicing certain thoughts to counter that one, Lou, so that because you want to counter that whole, oh no, no, I'm only going to get 6 hours of sleep, so I'm going to be tired. And being able to switch it to like, you know what, however many hours of sleep, I know that I'm going to have enough energy to do what I want to do tomorrow, because I can manage my energy, and then it just kind of shifts things. So I just kind of want to offer that as something. So let me go ahead. I'm just trying to sound a little different. I'm gonna go to Henry, and then we're gonna go back to Herman and Luz and Santi. And anybody else who would like to come up, please come up and share your thoughts about the topic. Like, are you running into stuff? Are there things that help you? Just want to share, and please feel free to share it in the chat as well. So Henry, welcome to the stage. Actually, is this your first time here in Empower Hour?
It might be. I may have been here once or twice before. I've definitely been a part of the Amigos groups for sure.
Oh, that is so awesome. You know what? Like, I feel like you and Desiree, we should probably like do a warm amigos welcome for coming up into this room and sharing. Cause
Um,
so I should have done that with Desiree. So everybody, let's everybody on stage say 1, 2, 3. We're gonna welcome Desiree and Henry. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Bienvenido,
Welcome,
welcome.
bienvenido,
Bienvenidos.
Desiree and
Welcome,
Henry.
welcome.
Welcome,
Welcome.
Welcome,
welcome.
welcome. Pa, pa,
All
pam.
right.
Thank you. Thank
yes,
you.
thank you so much. I
Yeah, we're so
appreciate
glad to
it.
have you. So
Thanks for
Henry, tell
allowing.
us you.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
thanks for allowing me to chat really quick. Something very interesting. A very interesting and important topic for us, especially in our community. I think so. I was always one of those really. I was a. I would say I was a really healthy person. I've always been like a healthy person. I'll say that. And I never thought that I would be someone that would have sleeping issues because I never had a problem with that before in the past. But I would say like 2019, I think a lot of different stuff in my life had just caught up with me, and I was in a situation where I had really bad insomnia. It wasn't just like a one night thing. And I was always a really big sleeping nerd before that. I did a lot of the things that you all had talked about before, blue light glasses, temperatures. Um, I was always doing some of that stuff, but it still like caught me. This insomnia got me really bad. I was having really struggling really bad. And I knew it was a lot of different things in my life at the time. But I ended up joining this online doctor who set up like this. He had this business online. It was called Somly. I don't even know if that's what it's called anymore. But he had given some tips that were also really helpful that I wanted to share with the group if that's helpful to anyone else. Because
Yeah, please do it.
yeah, there were things that that again, like I knew a lot of stuff before, but I was still struggling, and there was some insightful stuff that he had also shared, and I just wanted to share some of that if that's helpful for anyone else, because I know it did help me. I think the important thing for me, and I know that everyone struggles with sleep differently, so um so take it for what it is. But I think one of the big aha moment things that he had talked about was like, you know, I said, Henry, a lot of people have issues with sleeping. You're not the only one. So don't get so concerned. Number one, it's almost to what you're saying, Susie, about like shaming yourself. Like I was shaming myself a lot for having these issues. Couldn't believe I was in this situation, a lot of this stuff. And one of the, it was just, you know, he told me when you're lying there, like, don't shame yourself, basically. Don't, tell yourself, instead of worrying about it, waking up early, because one of the things I also used to do was wake up super early. He would say, wake up and say, oh gosh, thank God I woke up early. I have extra time to lay down in bed, and just enjoy your time in bed. Like, be fortunate that you get to lay in bed, and that I'm not the only one that has these issues. A lot of people have these similar issues. So whether you get in this like just whole rut of, now all of a sudden your sleeping issues becomes about you having sleeping issues, not just about what you're stressed about. So that was one thing that helped me, just realizing that, hey, this is actually a common thing. Not that it's okay for this to always happen, but it is common, and don't make it all about me having the issue or saying my um, shaming myself. And then the next thing I'll just share really quick is the two most important things were your circadian rhythm, which is basically like the time you fall asleep and the time you wake up, making sure that that's on a good schedule. But then secondly, like your sleep drive. So the way he had talked about it with me was making sure that you're filling up your gas tank full of that sleep drive, so that by the time you get to bed, like you're tired and you really want to go to sleep, and you fall asleep pretty fast. So that could be like, even if I had a really bad night before, no matter what, still get up early that next day, because that's going to help you with your sleep drive the next day, and like helps reset you back into that circadian rhythm. And the mistake I was making was, I would feel really shitty about not getting a good night's sleep. So I say, oh, I'm going to sleep an extra hour or two because I didn't sleep good. But he was very adamant on, I don't care if you had 1 hour of sleep, Henry. Like, you're gonna get up at 6 or 7 the next day, whatever time that works for me. And everyone's body's different, so everyone has to figure out their own circadian rhythm. So mine's different from everyone else's, and whatnot. But those are like the two like high level things that they had worked with me with, and it was super helpful. Everything was done online. It was just one on one time. So I hope that's helpful for anyone else.
Henry, that is so great. If you feel comfortable posting like a link or information about the organization that helped you, because it sounds like it would work for anybody as long as you have online support in case there are people here who might be able to benefit from that. Would you be able to post that in our chat?
Absolutely, I'll put it there.
That is so awesome. And there was that one phrase you used that was really good. So interesting, like creating, was it the sleep drive? What was the
Yeah,
phrase?
yeah, it was the two most important things for this, what he was talking to me about, was your circadian rhythm and your sleep drive. And you want to fill your gas tank full with a sleep drive, so that by the time you hit bed, you hit the bed, you fall asleep really fast, as fast as possible. So a lot of it is the environmental things that you talked about at the beginning of the chat. That's part of it. That helps fuel your sleep drive. And then some of it too is, like I said, just making sure you're waking up at the same time every day, regardless if you didn't sleep well. Exercising, being active during the day, because you want to tire yourself out during the day. So a lot of that is a part of filling up your gas tank full of your sleep drive.
Man, I love that. I feel like I'm learning so much today between you and Nando's term introductions, but like the sleep drive makes a lot of sense. And one of the ways that you fill it up also is like when they say don't take like super long naps
Yeah.
closer to bedtime. And the whole exercise, what I understand and I have found to be true is like you definitely want to exercise, but not close to bedtime because now you're got your sympathetic nervous system gets riled up and then you have too much energy. But thank you so much for that, Henry. Please stay up here at the top with us and participate as part of the conversation. And if anybody would like, oh, hey, Yurida, let me go ahead and pass it over to Herman, our wonderful Herman, another co-mod. Herman, what would you like to share with us about the topic? Like, what has been your experience? Do you have any tips? And just because of the time, we're going to try to keep it to like 2 minutes. Thanks, Herman.
Of course, yeah. I'll make it quick. So my sleep, it has always changed, and I go through like phases. In terms of like kind of what Ananda was saying, like I self sabotage on Sundays, especially on Sundays, and I know that I'm doing this because I go and finish all my photo shoots. Like if I do two photo shoots on Friday and two on Saturday and then two on Sunday, I'm like, okay, it's my time to go watch Game of Thrones or my favorite show on Netflix and stay up until like 3 a.m. in the morning. And I did this Sunday too. But I think that sometimes I know that in the past I have gone through phases where I just cannot sleep or go to sleep and then wake up at 3 a.m. and then or 2 a.m. and then cannot fall back to sleep. And so I remember because of all the programs that the several programs that I have done and completed with Nando, I remember one of my coaches, I was dealing, like I said, I was dealing with the sleep problem, and I don't remember what it was, but the coaching that I got from this person was, are you are you categorizing the issues that you're having? Because if it has a solution, right? Like if you're dealing with a client that, oh, he doesn't like his photos, that has a solution. I can go and redo the photo shoot again, right? But if and I think Desiree was mentioning earlier, like if it doesn't have like a solution, if you cannot have control over it, then stressing out, that's what he said like if that doesn't if you cannot have control over it, stressing now is not going to help you, and it's going to make it worse for yourself, right? So that's what I got from the coaching of like if I stressed out and I don't have control over it, like I'm just making it worse for myself. And so I know that if Leona is going through something, if I like I'm not sleeping, then I don't have control. Like unless I go see a vet, and then they tell me, okay, this is what's wrong. But if I know that it's something that I have control, then I can relax, right? And then take a deep breath, do some tapping, go listen to some music on YouTube because that's my favorite platform, especially now with like all the new videos that you can actually select the music and or video, and the video will be black screen so it doesn't interact, like it's not bright when you're sleeping. And so that's what I've been doing, and those are the tips that I will, I mean, not even a tip, but just like realizing like what category are you stressing about? Is it something that you have control, or is it something that you have no control over it and then you're just stressing out? That's it. Herman, and I'll yield the mic to you.
Okay, Herman, that was freaking brilliant. And you know why? Because you helped me understand why is it that sometimes getting up and doing something helps and why it does sometimes it doesn't. So, because I was trying to understand like in my head, like, so Desiree, I keep going back to Desiree because I mean, I thought because it's like what I got is that in her case, it was a problem that she had control over and she could deal with it right then, which is, so then she did. And in my case, it was just I wasn't I was stressing about things that well, I don't even know if I asked myself, do I have control over it? Ironically, I was stressed out because it's like, oh, I'm doing a room on too stressed to sleep and I'm so good at getting to sleep. And then I was like, oh my God, I can't get to sleep. Like I probably set myself up for that yesterday. Um, but yeah, I just think that's really brilliant that I think that being able to ask yourself is, what am I stressed out about? Do I have control over it? And or what level of control do I have? Maybe that's another way, like, if it's your dog, because you were talking about, oh, Leona, for people who don't know, that's Nando and Herman's dog. And he's thinking, like, if there's something going on with her and he's stressed out about it, he can't do anything about it until he goes to the vet. But he could also then in that moment decide, I can't do anything about this until I go to the vet, and the power I have is I will take her to the vet first thing in the morning. Or you could decide, oh, I have the power to decide that I'm going to fix those photos and I'm going to do them tomorrow, so let's just go to sleep, I got that handled. So I thought that was brilliant. And you also tapped on what Julie mentioned about, like, you can get black screen stuff so you could listen and not have the phone on and keeping you awake. So thank you so much. So let me go ahead, bop over to Yuridia. Bienvenida, this is your first time on our stage too, yeah?
Hola, hola, hello, hello. Yes, I think it's my first time or second. I don't know.
Well, I haven't seen
How
you.
you
I
guys
haven't
doing?
seen you in this room, so let's do a welcome to Yuridia. Okay, one, two, three. Bienvenida.
Bien, bien.
Welcome, welcome. Come on, people, get it
Bienvenida.
up.
Hello.
Welcome,
Gracias,
Okay.
welcome,
gracias.
welcome,
Thank you.
bienvenida.
Okay.
Welcome.
And so let me just say, so we still have you, Yuridia, Luz, which says Nedas Coquito. We have Jorge and we have Dora Maria that hasn't yet shared. So I'm gonna ask you if you can keep it to like 2 minutes, like share what you would like to share, and then we would love to provide feedback or applaud you for whatever wisdom you offer. So go for it. The mic.
Okay, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I don't know. Can you hear me?
I can now. I have
Yes.
no idea. Maybe I was muted. I have no idea. But yeah, if you could, yeah, go
Okay.
ahead and share.
No, I'm just I love this topic because I used to have problems sleeping and now I'm it's always good to try new stuff, you know? And so I'm taking notes of everything that you guys are saying and share it. I also have some experience and some stuff that I tried that I would like to share. I think I wrote it down. The teas, those the manzanilla that always work. The chamomile tea, and then I just tried something new, the banana peel. Like you just boil it and you add some banana. You can blend it and just for taste. You don't need it if you don't like too much sugar, but that one works. Yeah, and the other thing that I changed was try not to drink like caffeine or sugar at least couple hours before going to bed. And the other thing that I try is keeping myself busy, like clean up the kitchen, do laundry, something to keep myself busy and get myself organized, and walk. Like sometimes just something simple, just walking, taking a long shower, like enjoying the time, and not to think too much that I have to go to sleep right away. It's just that a process. And my mom was telling me right now, sex is good because we're married. But sometimes like a little massage, it's like I will say love. Like you have to love yourself and take care of yourself because sometimes we have just too much stuff in our head that we can't control, and we have to learn that we have certain limitations. There's things that they're just gonna have to wait, and we have to be okay with that. And there's things that we can't control. We have to let it go. So taking a deep breath and loving yourself and say, you know what? I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna go to sleep because tomorrow is another day and you're looking forward for the next day. And I mean those are the things that I try and it works. I think being physical active and having love and eating right, because the food it's our medicine and our fuel. That's all I can think to share. Thank you.
Yuridia, thank you so much for coming and sharing. And yeah, I mean, I think like I really agree with you that the it's both the self-care mindset and the self-care actions, right? That when you talk to yourself in that way, it's like I'm taking care of myself, I'm doing the best I can, as opposed to, I mean, I do think that a lot of the time why we're stressed out is that we're constantly telling ourselves, I'm not doing enough, I didn't do enough, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. Like we're telling ourselves that, but if you can switch that off and tell yourself, well, is that even true? It's like, no, I've done enough and I'm going to take care of myself and I'm going to rest. And then tomorrow's a new day and I get to do other stuff. So, yeah. And one thing that you said that hadn't been said before that I think is really good, please, if folks take a look at the chat where Yuridia and a couple of us mentioned different kinds of teas and things that work really well. But I think the other thing, taking a shower, water is supposed to be very helpful. So, we actually have a hot tub. It's one of those cheap inflatable plastic ones, but it works. And I have
Yes.
found, yes, right? Like a hot tub or a hot shower or a hot bath, like that just naturally creates a soothing uh, environment for your body. So that's just something also that you might want to that people can try. So I just appreciate you mentioning that, Yuridia. Thank you again.
Yes, like I have kids,
Um,
so sometimes they don't want to go to sleep. So you have to create a routine and you have to be consistent and you have to be patient. A lot of times our problem is that we're patient and we I will say like overachievers. We like want to control everything, and just take it easy, relax. It's gonna be okay, But bathtubs, like showers, I know I can. You buy like there's some salt, like lavender salt or eucalyptus salt, that you can throw it in there. You smell it. You create a nice environment and just relax, enjoy your life, and trust me, you'll sleep.
Yeah, and I think who else? I think Luz mentioned lavender as well, and because there's a lot of natural botanicals that are really nice. I actually have a lavender sachet that my friend brought me back from France that I have in my pajama drawer, so my pajamas smell real good. Thank you so much. I've turned off hand raising, so we're gonna have Luz, then Dora Maria, and then Jorge gets to finish us off today, and I'm sure, he's already summarized one of the most important things about how to really relax if you want to look at the chat.
That's right.
Sex, sex with somebody or sex with yourself. And you could still be married and have sex with yourself. That's very
That's
relaxing.
what
It's
I got
okay.
from Yuridia.
That's it. But I think that's totally spot on. So, Luz, just because of the time, would you be able to do in 90 seconds share something that we could take home from your experience? Thank you so much, sweetie. I'm glad you're here.
90 seconds. Oh my gosh, but I could do it. All right. So for me, like I said, it was the spray, the lavender spray. And by the way, my husband would love you just for saying that the room has to be at 67 degrees. Me congelo, carajo, cada noche. Pero bueno, that I do end up falling asleep until I get a hot flash at 3 in the morning because of menopause. Take care of yourself, y'all. Find a routine that helps you go to sleep and stay asleep. That's all. That's my 90 seconds.
Beautiful lavender and Luz, ponte calcetines así calientitos, so no te congeles y ya.
Yeah, and then I'm ripping them off a las 3 de la mañana porque todo hace calor.
Yeah, there is that. I mean, I think the menopause that could be its own freaking topic on how to like how to sleep when you're having menopause. So let me go ahead and pass it over to Dora Maria. Now, Dora Maria, is this your first time up on this particular stage?
No, I've been here. It's just been a while.
Oh, well, bienvenida. I'm still gonna tell you bienvenida. And but tell us, how would you like, what would you like to share about the topic? And again, I'm sorry we're running out of time, but if you can do it like, 90 seconds to 2 minutes,
Oh,
go.
I'm gonna go fast. No, love this topic. I always like to find out new ideas of what people do as far as techniques. I have an app that's called Better Sleep app, and it has certain music to help your mind relax. Like for me, I work on a computer all day, so my mind is like always going. and I just got back from out of the country, so like even when you're jet lagged, like it's hard to like focus on sleep or to get on your time zone again. So that app is really good. But when I can't find it, I use a regular white noise app as well. That was mentioned before. I have a night routine where I journal. I do journaling with some gratitude for the day. I reflect upon the day. I take a hot shower, and I do a lot of stretching. So my body's already used to, oh, this is the time that I'm stretching and I'm getting ready for bed. And I try very hard to turn off electronics as much as possible. Clubhouse makes it hard, but I've been doing pretty good, actually. I've been trying to stay away from Clubhouse at night so that the screen light and everything doesn't keep my eyes awake, like I'm putting my body into that mode. And then on tough nights, I do drink tea. I try not to eat a heavy meal like close to bedtime. And the aromatherapy, the lavender, I love too. If I'm having a rough day, I'll put some of that out as well. So with that, I'll land my plane.
Love it. Like everything you shared, so good. And I love that you obviously cultivate a lot of self-love and you put a lot of care, kind of like the way Julie was also talking about her routine. Like it's nice. It's like think about like when you're a little kid, if you do like a bedtime routine for your kid and they fall asleep and you do the same thing, like it's like nurturing yourself, right?
100.
You were saying something? Yeah. Ah, thank you so much. I love that. And I'm just gonna note one thing that hadn't been said that you said, the gratitude journal. Uh, that if you are somebody who tends to be really stressed out and feel like you didn't get enough done, have that journal next to your bed and before you go to sleep, write in it and talk and write down like what are the things you're grateful for, what are the things that you're happy that, that you were able to create on, today, that kind of thing. Very, very empowering and just makes you feel really good and fulfilled so that you're not stressing too much. Thank you so much again. That's awesome. Jorge, you get to finish us up. What would you like to share other than what you already said in the chat?
Well, I just came in right perfectly on time to get the good advice. Well, no, I think everything has been shared. I don't know if so. Having a routine is the most important thing. I use the phone to let me know an hour in advance when I should start to wind down and lock my screen and shut down certain apps. I think that having a routine at night is essential. I think that the chamomile, its tea is great, and also it, if you don't take magnesium, magnesium actually it's a great supplement because it does help you relax and it reduces stress and it definitely helps you sleep. Somebody gave me that tip a long time ago, and when I'm having trouble sleeping, I take magnesium, and you can buy it over the counter. So that's one of the things. But most important, have a routine. Hot shower, tea, read, no screens. Read before you go to bed. And if you do that, your body eventually starts building that habit that says, "Oh, all right, well, I guess it's time to go down," and that's it. But it's awesome. Thank you.
That's awesome. Magnesium, super important. Love what you said about like an hour before, put the phone aside. I myself have tried doing the thing where I plug the phone into the bathroom. So I'm not tempted, but I have stopped doing that. Tonight, I'm putting that goddamn phone in the bathroom. I promise you guys. And I'm gonna take me some magnesium, drink it with some te de manzanilla, and take a shower, do my gratitude journal.
And
Set the
tequila,
temperature to
oh, that also
67.
helps.
Say what?
And tequila also helps.
No, actually, that doesn't. Alcohol is really bad.
I know.
However, the magic wand or the magic husband may help. That was the other thing we learned tonight.
Absolutely.
So
Either love yourself or just figure out.
awesome. Well, I hope everybody got value from today. Thank you so much for everybody that came up and shared. It was so fun to connect and hear everybody's great tips. Uh, Feel free to share. You'll be able to, since we are recording, once it records, if you want to share this with anyone or you want to go back and catch the recording, you can do that. Thank you for those who are catching this on the recording. I hope this was helpful. And join us back next week in Empower Hour at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, not Thursday, that was wrong, Tuesday, and we'll come up with another topic that will help us get to know each other better, connect, empower each other, and live better, amazing lives. So if everybody wants to unmic and just say goodbye, that would be awesome.
Adios.
Adios,
Bye.
Good night,
everyone.
everyone.
Adios.
Don't
Yo,
forget
Bye
to
bye.
love
bye.
yourself.
Love
Love,
Love,
yourself, y
love.
love,
duerman bien,
family.
duerman bien. Ciao.